Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? It's your boy Aaron. It's Arispe on America, man. Happy President's Day. It's a beautiful Monday, February 16th, 2026. And yeah, man, episode 7. Here we are, man. Here we go. You know what I'm saying? Another day, another dollar. Always something going on, man. Always some news to be talked about. Always something going on in this world, man. So, with that being said, we got lots to cover, man. Lots to talk about. From DHS funding not being put through, so we're in a partial government shutdown. Who knows where that's gonna go? Um, they're talking about this could go as far as like they're already predicting spring break. Um, so we'll cover that, discuss some of the updates with the shutdown, and then after that, or not even after that, just also some tensions within Europe at the Munich conference. We'll go over the Marco Rubio address to European nations, go over AOC's address. It's just a couple other things, man. We'll just kind of go with the flow today. I didn't really structure this one out too much. Today I didn't have a lot of time, man. This last weekend, it's Valentine's Day, man. I got tired. My wife got sick, bro. We didn't have a lot of time to. I didn't have a lot of time to research too much, so I'm gonna be learning with you as we go today. So that being said, man, let's jump the hell in, my boys, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Here we go. All right. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and start with Chuck the Cuck Schwarmer's address. We talked about it a little bit last time. And he just wasn't willing to give us fucking any information. Dude is just like, oh, I'm not willing to discuss none of that. Talk to the Republicans. Talk to the Republicans. So let's see what the fuck this guy has to say today. See if he'll be a little bit more transparent than he was on Friday.
Right now, President Trump told reporters that he's talking with Democrats and that, quote, I know what they want. I know what they can live with, unquote. Are you willing to accept anything less than the White House agreeing to all 10 of your demands to rein in ICE and fire Secretary Noem, or is it all or nothing?
Look, the bottom line is we have three basic objectives to rein in ICE and end the violence. First, no more of these roving patrols. You can't just go to someone's house, bash in their door without a warrant.
Right.
You can't indiscriminately grab someone off the streets and arrest them.
Trying to pull up this chat.
What we're proposing is that
I need to figure out how to get it on my damn screen.
That, ICE agents can't go to certain special places, churches, schools, polling places. We're saying that they should end racial discrimination and not just pick someone up on the basis of what they look like. And we are proposing that the ICE be monitored carefully as well. The second area is accountability. They have to coordinate with local governments. They don't do that now. They just show up in an area that may be perfectly safe and fine. We need a code of use of force. Every police department across the country
every time I get on stream.
You look at the videos here and you see them just beating the daylights out of people. It's not America. And finally, and maybe most important, no secret police. No police department in America doesn't identify themselves, but these guys wear masks.
Come here, dude.
They don't
Let
have
it go.
cameras. We
Come
need
here,
masks
bro.
off. We need cameras on. And we need every ICE officer to be identified. Jake, these are common sense proposals. They're supported by the American people. Why won't Republicans go for them? They don't give any good answers. Well, it's something that every police department does across the country, but ICE is rolled out of control.
Nobody wants to hear you barking.
That there is a standard of force when it comes to ICE and CBP. And they also say, in terms of unmasking, that will expose the ICE agents and CBP agents and their families to doxing. And
dude, chill out, please. My God, you're like barking into my microphone. Sorry, guys. He freaks the fuck out when there's like other dogs barking outside. I live in a complex. Anyways, like, what do y'all think about that? Like, 'cause to me, that seems like complete BS, man. I mean, I don't feel like it'll leave these people to be subjected to be doxxed. Oh my God. Yes. Sasuke, hold on. I'm going to close my window. 1 second, guys. Bro, can't even think because you're barking so damn loud, Sasuke. Sorry, man. Rough start to the stream, dude. These dogs, man. Once they start going, they don't
threats to
stop.
their safety.
Dude, stop it.
Yeah, look, just look at every police department across the country.
That's what I was gonna say. Sorry, man. I lost my freaking train of thought already. I'm sorry. Dude, just chill out and relax. It's not that big of a deal. Sorry, man. He thinks he's the biggest shit. Anyways, trying to get my stream of conscious going here without it being interrupted, because god damn, once it gets interrupted, I like lose all ability to be able to go in. Ugh. All right. Anyways, normal police officers on a daily basis operate without having to utilize masks. As they patrol on a day-to-day basis. So I think it's complete utter bullshit that it would expose agents in the field to being doxxed or being, or leaving their families subject to discrimination or to be harmed. That's just bullshit, man. There's no level of enforcement agency here in America where you should be able to put a mask on and go into American cities and terrorize American citizens and immigrants. Doesn't matter. Just to terrorize people. That's just not the American way, bro. That's not how we do things. You know what I'm saying? And it's just completely unethical. And it's like, dude, if you're going to stand for something, stand on business. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be an ICE agent, don't be a bitch about it. You know what I'm saying? Like Nazis back in the day didn't go around covering their motherfucking faces. They stood for what they believed in, bro. Piece of shits, horrible motherfuckers. But at least they were like, they had enough integrity to fucking stand for what they believe in and show their faces. You motherfuckers are cowards because you don't want your motherfucking moms and your family members and everybody to judge you for what you're doing, because 9 times out of 10, it's like a Martinez hunting down a Martinez, bro. So you don't want your abuela or your abuelo, or you don't want your mama and papa to see that. You don't want them to know what you're out there fucking doing because you took a $50,000 blood check.
They don't walk around in
Motherfuckers.
masks. They don't walk around unidentified. Every police department is identified. In New York City, you see the name right on the breastplate, and the police are fine with that. So that
Right.
makes no sense what they're saying. And all we're asking is that they follow what police departments do across the country. ICE is rogue. The American people, when they have seen these videos, recoil. They say this is not America, and why aren't Republicans agreeing with that? It makes no sense.
Well, what if they are going after the cartels? I understand with the roving patrols and such that you're talking about, but if in
I don't even know. Let's pull up the facts. How many immigrants deported have had criminal? Dude, he is just on one today. The administration's claim 70%. Right, I saw Sasuke. Dude. God, guys. It's because they're taking out trash and shit all outside, bro. It's like the worst time for me to get online because this dude is just freaking reactive. Come here. I gotta train you better. Come here. Come here. Come relax. No, stop. Stop. Ugh. All right. My God, bro. Chill the fuck out. No, calm yourself, brother. We're good. We're good. We're good. Stop. Killing me. Let's see. What is the fuck the facts? I'll come back and get into that. Where's my video?
specific targeted instances, if ICE agents are going after criminals, violent criminals, members of the cartels or whatever, and you'll acknowledge that some, maybe a minority, but some of the people being picked up are that, there certainly is an understandable concern about an ICE agent's
Look,
safety in that instance, no?
every other police department in America is unmasked. ICE can do the same. This is a rogue force. They're
So-
almost trained, it looks like, to be nasty and mean and cruel, and go way beyond what ordinary police departments do. So they need to be reined in. They need to stop the violence. And the question that Americans are asking is, why aren't Republicans going along with these common sense proposals? They're not crazy. They're not way out. They're what every police department in America does.
So your fellow Democratic Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, who voted against shutting down the government, he pointed out that, quote, this shutdown literally has zero impact on ICE functionality. Democracy demands a way forward to reform ICE without damaging our critical national security agencies, unquote. And it is true that CBP and ICE are fully funded this year, and you're using the funding of other parts of DHS, such as the Coast Guard or TSA, as leverage. And in the meantime, ICE can keep doing whatever it wants to do. So the question would be, how does the shutdown do anything to accomplish the goal of reining in Trump's immigration crackdown if ICE and CBP are not necessarily directly affected?
Well, 2 points. First, we have proposed that the guardrails that will be applied to ICE are applied not just to the present funding, but to the previous funding that was in the big bad bill. That's very important to us. So that will rein in all of the ICE agents, no matter where they're funded. But second, there's a simple answer to this. Republicans, go along with these common sense proposals, and we'll fund the whole DHS bill, the whole Department of Homeland Security bill. Just go along. Again, I cannot repeat enough. These are common sense. Police departments across America use them. We have a rogue agency. Why don't we rein them in? That's what the American people are asking Republicans, and that's why they're going to have to go along with us. And I believe they'll have no choice but to go along with us, because it's so common sense and so much supported by the American people. They're losing support every day by not supporting these common sense proposals. That's a lot of bull. They show no evidence of voter fraud. They show there's so little in the country. And to have ICE agents, these thugs, be by the polling places, that just flies in the face of how democracy works, of how we've had elections for hundreds of years, very successfully. It makes no sense at all. And we will, in our legislation, we say that ICE agents should not be anywhere near polling places. Again, I think most Americans agree. You talk to people at polling places who operate the polling place.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment, man, because, I see a lot of Republicans, and conservatives claim that why wouldn't you want ICE agents at the polling stations? Why would you oppose this? If you oppose this and you're okay with illegal immigrants voting here in America, dude, that's not even like a possible. How are immigrants even coming about voting, right? Like, where are they forging the documentation that they need to go ahead and go vote? Because I live in Texas, where it's already quite difficult to go vote. You have to go through a bunch of hoops and shit just to make sure that you're registered in time. And if you're not registered in time, you can't even go vote. It's bullshit, right? So how many more guardrails do we need to put up? You already have to be an American citizen to go vote. So me personally, I don't want cops or ICE agents, in military gear and have rifles in their hands at the polling stations while I'm voting. That just makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me feel like there's thugs there. I don't feel very safe with that idea. Like, I mean, would you be okay with the military at our polling stations as we go vote? Like, what the fuck for? It's a democracy, right? It's supposed to be like one of the most exciting things you get to do and participate in as an American citizen, right? I mean, it's literally the thing that makes us American, is our ability to go vote and the sway that we have on these elections, right? I mean, that's what it means to be an American. Everybody, when they turn 18, is so excited to go vote and everything. So excited to go do this. So excited to go do that. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm just saying, for like me personally, I wouldn't want a bunch of fucking Gestapo over my shoulder looking down at me and watching me vote. That just seems kind of weird. So, I don't know, man. You know, every day. I'm sorry if I'm a little off today too. My blood sugar high as hell today, so I got diabetes for those that don't know. So if I'm a little slow today, this is my brain ain't working the way that it should. Um, but yeah, man. I just don't think that it's very constitutional. I don't think that it's very American to have uh almost military personnel at the voting stations. That's something that should be fun, something that should be, you know, uh, it's just an exciting endeavor to go do. I don't know. It rips the fun out of going and voting, and I haven't voted since 2016. I haven't even bothered to go because it's just like it's been a bullshit choice ever since then. And even in 2016, I wasn't very happy with my choices. It's not like I wanted to vote for either Trump or Hillary motherfucking Clinton. You know what I'm saying? I got problems with both sides of the spectrum. It's not just Republicans for all you liberals out there that claim that it's just the Republican Party. The Democrats are also problematic in almost every way. You know what I'm saying? They turn their backs on us. They don't look out for us. They just want us to shut the fuck up too. They push policy to get the masses to shut up. They're not really looking out for us though. They're not really on our side. I mean, it just flips back and forth. This whole democratic opposition to like ICE now. I mean, let's be real. I mean, they utilized ICE just as much as Trump did. Maybe they pursued it in a different way, but let's let it be known that when Obama first took office, that he was known as the what was it, the head deporter in charge. You know what I'm saying? Because he literally took such a radical approach to immigration and deportation. He utilized ICE. You know what I'm saying? Bush set it up. So it's a product of both Republicans and Democrats why we are where we are today. Republicans set it up after 9/11. Obama took advantage of it during his administration. His tactic was that he used a different style of rhetoric, right? He didn't frame it the way that Trump framed it. He framed it more on like this whole we I don't know. We just framed it in a more legit way, I think. It wasn't so much opposition to it due to the fact that the operations weren't so in our face compared to the way that it was or is now with the Trump administration, either the first one or the second one. Doesn't matter which one you're talking about.
Places they don't want these ICE agents floating near them and intimidating them.
About 83% of the American people, including a majority of Democrats, support voter ID laws.
Well, yeah, the voter ID laws that first each state can have its own voter ID laws, and some do and some don't. But secondly, what they are proposing in this so-called SAVE Act is like Jim Crow 2.0. They make it so hard to get any kind of voter ID that more than 20 million legitimate people, mainly poorer people and people of color, will not be able to vote under this law. We will not let it pass in the Senate. We are fighting it tooth and nail. It's an outrageous proposal that is, that shows the sort of political bias of the MAGA right. They don't want poor people.
Yeah,
They don't want
they
people of
don't.
color
They
to
don't.
vote
I
because they
live
often
in
don't vote.
I live in Texas where you got to do like you got to mail shit in or whatever from what my wife was telling me and everything. We were talking about it the other day. You got to do these old school like things that only like boomers do, right? So it bars out the young generation. It bars out poor people who don't know how to go do those very simple things that old people used to go do. They cling on. They create laws, right, that are more centered around the old ways of doing things. So it kind of takes us out of the equation or makes it harder for people like me and you who have become so technologically savvy, and rely on tech on a day-to-day basis, to be barred out from voting itself, right? I mean, most 18-year-olds don't even know how to mail something out. Let's just be real. Motherfuckers don't even know, where to go get a fucking stamp, you know? I mean, they don't even know what side of the fucking letter to put the stamp on. I don't even know how to write out how to send a motherfucking letter. And you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't until I started sending packages and shit for a little business that I owned a while back. So like I said, it just brings it back around to the idea that they're making it harder and harder and harder for people of color, minorities, young people to go and vote and go cast, to put their voice out there and make a difference, you know? And that's where it becomes problematic. I agree with voter IDs, but it should just be as simple as if you have an ID, it's an American ID, you can go vote. Two forms of do it the same way that it is for your driver's license. Two forms of certification that you are an American citizen. So your birth certificate, your ID, and your social. Bring two of those. I don't give a fuck. I don't know. I just don't know why they got to make things so motherfucking difficult for people, and I don't know why they're so adamant about it. And I don't know. It's not that I don't know why. I do know why. Everybody knows why. It's because they want to keep control, right? They want to keep having the power because they don't want us to realize that if we get out there and we start voting and we start trying to make a difference, uh, that they'll be outnumbered, right?
For them.
Earlier this week, you introduced Virginia's law in honor of prominent Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre, who died by suicide last year. The law would eliminate the statute of limitations for survivors of sexual abuse so they can sue their abusers. Is there bipartisan support for this legislation? Do you have 60 votes?
The survivors are working very, very hard, and they've been so successful, as you know, because of their good work. Congress voted virtually unanimously. There was only one dissenting vote in the House, none in the Senate, to make the Epstein files public. Now, I have to say that Kristi Noem and all of them, Bondi, are not making them public, and they're derelict in disobeying this law. But the fact that we got Republican support to actually make the files public, and because the survivors were so instrumental in doing that, they're going to work hard to see if we can get some Republican support. I would bet on them.
Leader Schumer, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Did you know that you can have permanent teeth in just 24 hours? That's right. Only 24 hours and your new smile is ready.
Let's take a look at another president, though. President Donald John Trump. Look at this. I got 4 numbers across for you on this screen here. They are all second-term lows for the given pollster. What are we talking about? AP North, 26 points below water. NBC, 22 points below water. Yahoo YouGov, 20 points below water. Quinnipiac, 19 points below water. So we're ranging from negative 19 points all the way to negative 26 points. Kate, there's this question that folks keep asking, where is the floor for Donald Trump? And I'm not sure there is a floor, because if there is one, Donald Trump, at least in term number 2, has just fallen through it to another low level.
God damn.
His first term, and how does this compare with Joe Biden?
Okay, so we look at these numbers right here. One of the things that Donald Trump had been arguing, his proponents have been arguing, you know what, he's doing better than he was doing in term number 1. No longer is that the case. What are we talking about here? Okay, net approval rating at this point in the term. Look at this. 22 points below water on average when you average all the pollsters from the last slide. That is actually lower. That is lower than he was at this point in term number 1, when he was 17 points below water. So he's doing 5 points worse. 5 points worse. He's doing way worse than Joe Biden was doing at this point in his term number 1, when he was 13 points below water. So the bottom line is this. Donald Trump is setting new records for himself in term number 2, setting new records for himself compared to where he was at this point in term number 1, and he's doing worse than Joe Biden.
Hey man, Trump loves to break records, doesn't he? I mean, shit, dude. He's always trying to one up himself. I mean, and I would say that he's done a pretty damn good job this administration, this term. You know what I'm saying? Negative 22 points. That's pretty up there, Donald. It's pretty up there, buddy. And Biden was a shitty president too, man. But with those approval ratings, dude, it's just going to keep going down and down and down. There's nothing that this administration is doing that can save themselves. That'll bring back faith to the American people, at least in my opinion. Like, you're losing MAGA devotees by the day, and I feel like you should at least be trying to win them back a little bit. I don't even know what these fuckers are doing anymore, man. I mean, just spreading empire, you know what I'm saying? Trying to be as imperialistic as possible. The age of...
Which is, of course, the comparison than
The age of the
Donald
new
Trump does
American
not want to
empire.
be, because we all know what happened to Joe Biden. His party lost the House in term number one, that midterm elections, and of course Joe Biden was not reelected to another term. At this point, the numbers are no bueno for the President of the United States.
What's driving this that you're seeing right now?
Okay, Kate. You know what? This is the segment we have done it over and over and over again because he keeps setting new lows for himself. What are we talking about? Well, we're talking about independence. We're talking about independence. When you lose the center of the electorate, you lose the American people. Trump's net approval rating among independents, you know, at this point, you go back term number one, he was 17 points below water. Now, according to Quinnipiac, he is 27 points below water. I don't understand how this works out well for the President of the United States. When you are 27 points below water, underwater, with the center of the electorate, with independents, you lose, your party loses. You know, I've made the comparisons before, you know, oh, he's more underwater than Greg Louganis. I've made the comparisons with all those different divers. And the bottom line is this: you can continue to make those, but over time, when you keep making those same comparisons, they run a little bit old. But at this point, I don't really know who to even compare Donald Trump to, because he's just so low, and he's so low with the center of the electorate.
261 days to go. Yes, the midterms may seem far off, but they are starting to dominate the dynamics here in Washington and are fresh on President Trump's mind. As the GOP now confronts a daunting political environment, Trump is taking his pitch to the nation's best.
It's not looking good for him, man. I mean, these midterm elections, I keep reiterating it over and over again on this podcast, guys, how important they are, man. I mean, we can flip the House and we could flip the Senate to our favor and actually get an impeachment trial going and start getting some of these people out of this administration and hold them accountable to their tyrannical and treasonous actions. You know, because as the rest of the country, me myself want to see justice. I want to see some of these people held accountable for their actions, man. Because every day it feels like a new cover up. It feels like a new news story, and it can't just be, why can't it just be calm? You know, why can't it just be chill? Why can't we just be, you know, working on creating more value for Americans in their everyday lives, and working on infrastructure, and working on, you know, just ensuring that each and every one of us, to the best of the government's ability, is doing as well as we should for being in the most prosperous nation in the entire planet, instead of focusing on building the empire and, you know, taking territory that we don't need, to take other people's resources that we don't need. But I mean, it's always going to be the greedy capitalists that get their way, man. They're always going to get their way, and they are getting their way, but at the detriment of losing the American people's faith right now. And that can't be good for the administration.
Battlegrounds, even before U.S. troops in North Carolina, where he urged them to vote Republican.
Biden, who is the worst president in the history of our country. 0 illegal aliens have been admitted into the United States, and that's done by the radical left. Michael, will you come here for a second, please? He's running for the Senate, and if he gets in, you're going to be taken care of. If he doesn't get in, we're going to be stripping the military like they always do, the Democrats. When I heard they were taking the name Fort Bragg off, I said, no, they're kidding. They're not going to do it. They did. They took the name off. We got it back very quickly, but they took it off. And if we don't win the midterms, they'll take it off again. It's another reason you have to vote for us, because they'll change it back to whatever it might be.
And this weekend, Trump also renewed his calls to place new restrictions on voting, as he started to see some fraying within his coalition. All while possible 2028 contenders, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio, flocked to Europe this weekend, where they're getting some attention. Let's break this all down with my excellent panel: Tia Mitchell from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, CNN's Phil Mattingly, and Julie Davis from the New York Times. Good morning to you all. So look, Trump is, of course, as he does, demand total unity as we head into this very daunting stretch for the GOP. The party wants them to focus on issue number one, the economy. And we've seen time and time again Trump trip on his own message or create distractions and do things that are causing significant pushback within the ranks. Just this past week, we saw the Justice Department try and fail to indict 6 House Democrats. A lot of Republicans uncomfortable with that. How he's handled these.
Justice Department pushed to indict 6 House Democrats. Set attempts to rebuke Senator Kelly. Handling of ICE surges and the racist video of the Obama.
ICE surges, particularly in Minneapolis in recent weeks, has caused pushback among Republicans, nervous about going too far. Of course, that racist video of the Obamas that he later was forced to delete, though did not admit a mistake. Phil, how is this playing as we head into the midterms with his party?
Not great. I think, and Monty, honestly, like I watch you work the halls every single week, and it's always a really good barometer of when do we hit self-preservation mode for members of Congress. And I think that as powerful as Trump's grip on the party has been, and I think we should all be very careful to pronounce some grand break or diminishment of his authority over the Republican Party and over his members, which has been so kind of ironclad over the course of the last 13 months. But the moment where Republican lawmakers, particularly frontline Republican lawmakers, start looking around and say, if I need to actually win in November, I need to start creating some distance. Not dramatic scale of distance that we've seen perhaps in past administrations, but I think what we've seen over the course of the last couple of weeks, but in particular this week as well, is some of those members saying there are opportunities for me to break. The repercussions of that from Trump's Truth Social posts are not in the kind of cost-benefit analysis, bad enough for me to not want to risk this, and therefore I'm going to move forward. Is it a grand kind of fracturing of the party? Absolutely not.
And typically in a normal, what's normal anymore, but like in a previous administration, the president would be like, okay, break with me.
Every other president says, like, I get it. Like, this is what you have to do. Trump is not that president, and how that dynamic plays out in the coming weeks, we're going to see more of this, is going to be really, really telling.
And I think that that's why it's been as limited as it's been, right? We saw that tariff vote last week. You had 6 Republicans. That's not anywhere close to the universe of Republicans that if they wanted to, protect their political flank and guarantee success in their races, would have wanted to vote yes on that to cancel the Canada tariffs.
There'd probably be a lot more.
There are a couple in there who are retiring. Yeah. There's one in there who's redistricted into a bad position anyway. So this is not as dramatic of a shift as we normally see at this point in the cycle, where you have a party that realizes they need to get some distance from the sitting president. But part of that dynamic is because this particular president will not brook any kind of break whatsoever, even if he knows. Probably doesn't think about this, but that it's for his own political good, the good of his own people in Congress and keeping the majority.
And we're starting to see his messaging too.
I got a fucking headache, man. These people, this whole administration, everything that happens every day, just shit pisses me off.
That he was going to bring the national average of gas less than $2 a gallon. That has not happened. But here's what he has delivered on.
I mean, here's
what he has delivered on. Trillions of dollars, $3.4 trillion worth of tax cuts, $1 trillion of which flowed to the wealthiest 1% of Americans. He can keep promises to his rich donor friends, but he can't keep promises to people like you.
I'm more
and
concerned
to me,
with,
I think that's the reason why Republicans are struggling across this.
I don't really care if the rich are getting richer as long as the middle class and lower class are also taken care of. I don't believe in this whole idea that it's a zero-sum game and that in order for the poor to do better, the rich have to do worse.
Is that what I said?
No, but that's kind of what you're implying, because we weren't even talking about.
That's not what I said.
We're talking about what affects people like me, right?
Well,
so gas prices affect people like me.
What affects people like you is that Trump has not delivered on his whole promise of just.
These kind of people are so delusional, man. I'm telling you, like, he's like, I really don't care if the rich are getting richer as long as we're getting taken care of. We're not getting taken care of, buddy. How much better is your life compared to 2 years ago? Are you really telling me that you're doing better? That you're financially sitting in a better situation? That your job has promoted you and paid you more? While corporatists and capitalists are getting tax breaks, as he's saying, almost fucking $3 trillion worth. And me and you, we haven't seen anything. Me and you, we still suffer. Me and you, we still get taxed out the ass. Me and you, we see no tax breaks. Me and you, we have no savings. We have no 401k. We have no retirement. We have no home. We have nothing. So who the fuck are you defending? What are you defending? I think these people, these are like those like men who dream that one day that they'll have the chance to sit at the table, right? That they'll be able to uh enjoy a piece of the pie, that one day they might enjoy the riches and spoils of capitalism in the way that the billionaires do. So they don't want to see regulation put on the billionaires in hopes that one day they are also in that same situation. But buddy, you're delusional. You have more of a chance of spending the rest of your life poor than you ever have becoming a billionaire. That's just the fucking truth, bro. It's the reality. It's the statistics. Stop living in a delusional reality and start facing the facts. Start looking at what's happening in front of us. Stop allowing this administration to cut tax breaks to all of their corporate buddies. Stop allowing our president to make $1.5 billion while sitting as the president, while enriching himself. You're upset. The Republicans are upset about a couple $1 million in tax fraud in Minnesota, but nobody gives a fuck about the fact that our president has enriched himself $1.4 billion while the rest of us fucking suffer. Well, groceries cost $400 for a week's worth, 2 weeks worth of groceries versus 10 years ago it cost 185. I know, bro. I've been out on my own for almost 10 years now, bro. I used to be able to fill up a grocery cart for almost $200. Nowadays, bro, $200 don't give me shit. How the fuck are motherfuckers surviving? How are you even fucking managing to get by? This shit's expensive out here, bro. And you're over here saying that I'm cool with the rich getting richer as long as we're also getting enriched. Well, guess what, man? The trickle down economics is not happening the way that it once happened. We're in late stage 4 capitalism, right? Well, the oligarchs are taking over. Where they're all of the riches are getting funneled at the top to the 1%, while me and you, bro, or we don't see a fucking penny, bro.
Wiping a pen on a piece of paper.
Nah, bro, they scam us to go to college and waste away 4 years of our life plus, right? Go 40 to 50, 60, $70,000 in debt just for AI to replace us, just for them to use Claudebot and Moltbot and OpenAI and Claude and all of that shit to be able to do our jobs. We're nobodies anymore, bro. And that's just the reality of it. So much so that I'm having to pivot. I'm having to figure out a different method. I'm trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to be able to escape whatever life I signed up for, bro. I came to college thinking that this was my way out, but I guess it isn't, man, because I'm fearful that my job that I was striving to do is going to become automated by AI, which is the reality of the situation. Most white collar jobs are getting automated by AI, and if you don't see that, then you're fucking stupid. You need to pay attention to what's happening with technology right now. Go follow a couple AI pages on TikTok or Instagram and keep up with the current innovations with AI, because if you're not, dude, you're going to be really caught off guard when you go to work or whenever they do cut you that pink slip, whenever you're a part of that 25,000 massive layoff for the month. When you're a product of that and you're surprised, you only have yourself to blame. You only have yourself to blame. And you know what? People like this, you really only have yourself to blame because you support the corporate billionaires. You support them getting tax breaks so they can invest more money into their innovations so they can create technology that'll eventually, like I said, render me and you obsolete. Me and you will not be effective in the workplace. Why the hell are you even trying to go to college anymore? The fuck college. I mean, seriously, they're telling us right now the next wave of billionaires are going to be blue collar workers. You might as well become a fucking plumber at this point. You might as well become an electrician. That's what I'm saying. You know, if if you think that college is just gonna be a be all cure all, then you're fucking stupid right now too, man. I mean, I'm not trying to be like that guy, but that's what I thought when I first came into college. I thought that if I came and got my degree, by the time that I graduated, I would be set for life and I'd be good. Blah 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 blah. And I'm not somebody who is complacent. Don't just keep my eyes shut, right? I can see when patterns are changing. I can see when the trends are changing. And I can see right now in front of me that the role that I was going for, which was like an analyst position, right? That's no longer going to be something that's here in the next 2 to 3 years. And if it is, the entire job and the scope of what you're supposed to do will change, right? And it's not currently what they're teaching us in college right now. All of the information that I'm learning right now in school, I fear that if I was to go to like work with these skills, that they would be just useless in the next 2 to 3 years. They're saying that vibe coding is the next big thing. Like that's the next project like management position, right? It's just learning how to vibe code. You don't need to know how to code anymore. If you can vibe code, if you can just get around Python, right? If you know how to work the basics of it, you're gonna be golden, bro. Because who the fuck is gonna be writing, entire scripts now? Who would? I mean, even with, I'm in an intro to programming class right now, learning Python, and we have Google Colab that we're practicing in. And dude, it recommends how to fix your code. It helps you build the code. It does this for your code. Every single programming software that's out now has some type of coding agent within it that helps you build the code. And as long as you're familiar with how to kind of build it, then you're golden knowing how to just vibe code. You don't need to know how to do everything anymore. That shit's dead. It's for the birds, bro. So there's a new level and a new set of skills that you should be teaching yourself right now. And you need to open your eyes to it, go to YouTube, and start getting familiar with the innovations within technology right now. Don't just be complacent and keep your eyes closed for the rest of 2026, man. This isn't 2016 anymore, right? Technology is moving at the fastest and most rapid rate in human history. So, with that being said, pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to the news. Pay attention to the way that the tech industry is revolutionizing at the very moment, because we're in a new industrial technical revolution, man. And for those of you that are young, if you ever watch my videos, if there's anybody out there that's young, pay attention to what's trending right now. Pay attention to the evolving job market, and don't fall for the same things that people have been trying to convince you to do for years and years and years, because the old way that things used to work is dead. We're going into a new era of the way that things work, especially with, you know, like corporate environments, white collar jobs, blue collar jobs. Everything's going to get innovated out of the ass. So y'all need to stay prepared for that, man. Y'all need to stay ready. And like I said, they're essentially going to, it probably is already there, they're going to create this technology that will um basically render your degree useless. It'll have no use. It won't even matter. You'll have more value as a worker if you know how to do something with your hands. You know how to go fix a car. You know how to go wire shit. You know how to be an electrician. You know how to work on ACs, right? You know how to go work on plumbing issues. You know how to go build shit. Because AI and technology can't replace that yet. Can it assist? Yes, 100%. Technology has already been helping blue collar industries for years, and it does help them get the job done a lot more effectively if you didn't have the tech. But it can only assist. It can't just fully replace. With some of the shit that I've been seeing with like Claudebot, Moltbot, and what they've been doing and slapping it onto fucking Minimax and shit, and having those agents run entire businesses and shit. That's just the start. Yeah, maybe it's flawed now. Maybe there's a lot of guardrails that are bypassed at the moment, and it's subject to being extremely invasive and problematic. But they just partnered with OpenAI this morning. Sam Altman just brought in the entire team of Claudebot, right? Or Open Claude is what it's called now, and it's going to be ingrained into the open, I think, AI system. I don't know everything about that, but just know that this is like the beginning of those types of technology being available to me and you. So yes, maybe now it's invasive. Maybe right now there's not a lot of guardrails to keep it safe. But dude, could you imagine in a year, especially now that they got open AI backed, funding, which happens to be one of the most um, highly funded private fucking companies in the entire planet. Now they can truly, truly innovate that technology to be what they need it to be. I'm telling you, bro, they are moving this tech faster than me and you could even comprehend. Me and you don't even understand what's going on right now because we're not involved in those type of companies. But just go look it up, bro. Go look up BlackRock, right? Go look at the board members and who's sitting on it and what companies those board members represent and what kind of technologies these companies are over here investing in. I'm telling you right now, it's some crazy ass shit.
And then lowering people's gas prices.
But
What he
you-
has
you
not
ran for
delivered,
office because
what he
you
has
know that's
not,
not
what
how
he
it
has
works,
not,
right?
what he has not delivered on is the fact that literally people have their energy bills that are going up left and
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Inflation is going up. Food
Yeah.
prices are going up.
And in my
left right.
Democrat-run state,
Grocery
they
prices
they
are
voted
going
to
up
increase energy
everywhere
prices.
across this country.
Right.
The reality is that you guys ran on an
the
agenda.
reality.
You ran on an agenda of lowering people's prices, and you did not.
Okay.
You didn't do that.
Oh, we didn't do that across the board. Okay.
No,
now,
you didn't.
Well,
That's
when
what
you
a
look
national average is.
These kinds of people, bro, they really love to they can't stand their arguments being defeated, right? It drives them insane. Saw another video of this guy the other day, man, arguing with somebody, and this guy is this freaking
70%
clown.
of people who have been deported so far have been criminals, either caught in the act. Yes.
Remember, okay, so we went through the statistic earlier. That's an overinflated number that the administration has been trying to push out. I think it's like less than 15-16% of those who have been deported are actually guilty of criminal activity. But let's go ahead and watch the video because this dude contradicts himself so hard.
You ran for Congress and you don't know this?
That's what those numbers said?
That is 70%. The other 30% are people who went through the entire immigration process and had some sort of that.
The claim fails to distinguish between convicted criminals and those accused of breaking the law using U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement data. The Cato Institute found in December of 2025 that 47% of ICE bookings had not been charged with the crime.
Deportation detainer.
He said over 70%.
That is 700,000 people were deported like that. 1.9 million people self-deported so far. That's all DHS data. It's publicly available. You can look it up. So,
you know what else is the publicly available DHS data, my friends? The fact that 23 homicides were a result of illegal immigrants committing them last year. 23 the year before that, or was it 29? 29 the year before that, 29 the year before that. So when y'all want to talk about these overinflated numbers that immigrants are coming over here and they're killing us, they're this, they're that, they're not. I think that the most guilty crime that illegal immigrants committed last year and every year prior before that is drinking and driving, right? It's always like some type of car crime or something. And I'm not saying that they're not guilty of other crimes, but when you put numbers to numbers, and I hate having to result people and reduce them to numbers, but when you face facts with facts, Americans commit far more crime than illegal immigrants do. That's just the truth.
how are you standing for criminals? Is that what you're doing right now?
Of interior removals, 70% of the people deported literally have not been convicted criminals. What are you talking about? That's according to DHS.
That's according to DHS? Where are you getting your data from?
DHS.
What day? This is like just recently.
From up to October or mid-October of this year.
So we're going to need a fact check on this because I literally checked yesterday.
They're not
70%.
convicted criminals. 70% of the people deported are not convicted criminals under interior
They
removals.
were people. So there were people that had either been convicted criminals.
No.
Or they had. We're like at a stalemate because now you're claiming something and I'm claiming something from the same source. So
70% of the people that have been deported under interior removals are not convicted criminals, and that is a fact.
That's not a fact.
It literally is.
It's 70%. I'm telling you, I looked it up.
I think you got it upside down.
At the end of the day, it is what's happening. They literally publish the photos of everybody who's being deported.
How many immigrants that have been arrested?
No, they published the majority of them
from ICE or deported have actually been convicted
You're saying they deported hundreds of thousands
crimes.
of people and they post pictures of every single.
They're not posting. See, this is what you're doing here is you're building like this false deflection around it. I didn't say everybody. I said they're posting photos of people who are being deported. Yes.
So that means that they're deporting.
They're posting, bro. I don't know if you're acting stupid or you're purposely just.
So he read it wrong. It's saying that 65 to 73% of people booked into ICE custody had no criminal convictions, and over 90% of them had no violent convictions. I think he read it that 70% of people that were booked had actual criminal convictions. And this is what dangerous about our country having the average of a 7th grade reading level, right? That you motherfuckers literally read something with your dyslexic asses and see shit backwards and then go and regurgitate misinformation and swear up and down that you read it as a fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is ridiculous, bro. You're over here swearing up and down that you yourself are reiterating pure fact, but in fact you are lying. You're misinformed. You don't even know what you're talking about. And you look like a fucking dumbass, a clown.
Misconstruing what I'm saying. Yeah.
But here's my argument. Under Barack Obama, of those that were deported under interior removals, 92% of them were convicted criminals.
That is true.
Of that 92%, 81% of them were considered tier 1.
That's true.
Worst of the worst, per se. I think that is something that makes us a lot more safe than literally roaming around to go get grandmas in CVS that speak Spanish or going to that construction
That's an absolute
on a job site.
That's an absolutely false narrative because that's actually
that's just what the facts say. I mean,
that's
the
not
facts
what's
just
happening.
don't really care about
You just
reality.
see this is common with what the left does. You guys just
The left loves
fabricate-
facts?
No,
That's kind of how that goes?
Again, that's not what you guys do at all. What for anybody watching at home, this is what they do. They get a piece of data, they fabricate a narrative
data.
around it, and then they try to sell it to you as the truth when in fact
This
it's
is
not.
your data.
So
Your data.
I mean, I came here.
This is Trump's own website.
I came here
really
with.
know what-
I came here with.
Ignoring it, he's like, yeah, I don't care about none of that, bro. He's just that these kind of people, they don't care what you have to say.
With a piece of data, you completely rewrote it in real time.
No, I gave you the facts.
You completely rewrote it. I mean, I'm surprised you ran for Congress. You're one of the most disingenuous, dishonest people that I've ever met in my entire life. I was literally taken aback for a second. I was like, how? Like, I looked this up yesterday. How is this guy sitting here lying so blatantly?
And you read it
should
wrong.
Be ashamed. No, seriously, dude. And I can see it in your face. No, you literally just sat here and lied. And you're like breaking down in real time.
I think I'm doing pretty
It's
good.
so
if I just
incredibly
had to say so
So
myself.
tell me, why are you so in favor of criminals being in this country?
I just told you that 70% of the people that Trump is supporting literally are not convicted criminals for
23 homicides from illegal immigrants last year. Does that justify the 645,000 removals that you motherfuckers did last year? The 2.2 million self-deportations? Is that what's justified to you motherfuckers out there? Seriously, ask yourselves that. Like, I mean, you're looking at these numbers side by side. Can you really justify the claims that you're making?
interior removals. I mean, I don't understand what about this.
Are they criminals? Are they all criminals?
You really buy into that narrative. That little grandmas are walking around. Oh my God. Oh, let's get grandma. Let's kick her out of the country.
That's literally what they're doing.
They have done that, buddy. I don't know why you're being so combative and denying that these ICE Gestapo are doing this.
The state average is less than $3 last year. Would love to see the Jubilee fact check on that.
And I will be correct.
Okay, I hope so.
Texas.
I hope you're right. But the national average is below. It's 5 cents below what it was. We're in a good.
You said it was going to be
place.
less than $2. That's what Trump.
No, I didn't say it.
Well, that's what Trump said.
Okay, Texas just got under $3.
Texas does have pretty cheap gas, guys. Gonna say that right now. I think that I paid like fucking $2.60 something yesterday. $2.40. I don't know. It's cheap here in Texas. I will give you that, but I have family who live all over the country, especially like in California, and trust me, gas is not that affordable in those kinds of places. So, yes, gas is affordable here in the South, right? In Texas, where we also produce quite a bit of oil. The South is always going to have cheap oil and gas compared to the rest of the country. So you can't just pull Texas up as a pure fact, right? God damn. 1 trillion wiped out from the stock market. What is it, today? Okay, no, that was the 12th. I'm fucking behind. Sorry, guys. I mean, I'm a fucking finance major who hasn't even been paying attention to nothing with the goddamn market lately. Shit's evil, bro.
Oh, AOC Dem momentum, and others are like, oh, she face planted in Munich. I think probably both are kind of true. I do think the Munich It was bad. It was
Was
not great.
it?
I mean, both on the content and also she just feels very shaky in foreign policy. And at the same time, you know, I do think she's you can't call her a front runner for 2028, but I do think she's obviously got a base of support. We put up the polling. Young Democrats absolutely love her. So there's, you know,
Yeah,
a
they
lot
do.
there that she could build from if that's what she decides to do. I'm, you know, I'll put my
Excuse
cards on the
me.
table. I hope she runs for Senate. I think she'd be a great senator. Obviously, she'd be vastly superior to Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, we need her out of the motherfucking house. Some of these people, we need them out of the house. They need to be senators, man. Because I'll say this time and time again, man. Like senators are where like the big shit, like big dogs roll. You know what I'm saying? It's the big dogs, man. It's where they make real decisions, bro. You know, you can play in the house all you want, man. But the second that you get to the Senate, dude, that's when you're like, it's the big leagues, bro. It's the big leagues. I mean, how many representatives do we have from Texas in the House? It's like 15, you know what I'm saying? There's only 2 senators from each state, no matter how big or small it is. And those motherfuckers have some sway. And they got some power, right? So we need strong voices in the Senate, which is why, again, I probably am more or less for like Jasmine Crockett uh than Tallarico. I like Tallarico, man, but Crockett just got a powerful voice, man. She stands on business. She holds people accountable, and I love people that hold motherfuckers accountable. Um, and she's just not so scripted, right? So we need people like that to get into the house, you know, not John Cornyn. We don't need him back up in there. Or Ted Cruz, little boy Raphael. For those that don't know, Ted Cruz's real name is Raphael Cruz, and this motherfucker is from Canada. He's not even from Texas. Oh, he's fucking Canadian, bro. Raphael. I don't know why he changed his name to Ted. Maybe to be more appealing to the American people. Raphael is just too ethnic.
That would give her a chance to, you know, further deepen her comfort and her knowledge on
Should I
foreign
name
policy,
myself
which
Bob? Should I change my last name, everybody? Is Arispe too ethnic? I think it might be. I don't think people will support me with the last name like Arispe. Maybe we just need to go like Bob Jones. Hey, I'm Bob Jones. Support me for senator. I'm Bob Jones. Support me for senator. Hey there, I'm Bob Jones. Next Texas senator. Dumbass. Nah, man. I'm Aaron Arispe, man. And I fight for what's right. Yes, sir. Hey. Nah, man. I don't know why people do that. It's weird that actors and politicians change their names to be more appealing to the American people. They try to whiteify themselves. I think that's such a it's not integral, right? I mean, come on, bro. Like represent who you are, bro. Stand on business.
I do think is her greatest weakness. And you can see it in
Say it
the
with
way
your
that
chest.
she's been really all over the place in terms of Israel from the beginning of when she first got into Congress and continuing up to this day. And so you could really see in Munich how shaky she was. You know, it felt like kind of
Let's see. I mean,
obviously
obviously
there in terms
she
of
was shaky. So we got some AOC Munich stuff here. I got the whole one. Let's see what we got. AOC's brain glitches in front of the whole world after being asked questions on foreign policy. Oh God, that's so hard and embarrassing. Let's see. I don't want to watch the whole thing. Is there like a
chasing updates.
highlight, bruh?
Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert.
Let's see. Seems like it's just gonna be a lot of little clips and shit. All of these Europeans not get a good taste of it. Yeah, they were selling fake news and social media. Let's see what she says.
Immediate reason he did was because in 2016 he organized a protest against what he thought were too many refugees being settled in the northern part of Essen. Find out recently that the interest payment on
party officials, people that you see in the news,
couldn't cope. The SPD, the Social Democrats, banned the protest.
Let's just go over some of the worst spots. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to watch 40
Democratic
minutes
hopefuls were seen
of
uniting in bashing
AOC.
President Trump's leadership on the stage at the Munich Security Conference over the weekend. Take a listen.
Donald Trump is doubling down on stupid. He's trying to recreate the 19th century. His code red in terms of American leadership in this space.
in the West, we'd look the other way for inconvenient populations, whether it is threatening our allies to colonize Greenland, whether it is looking the other way.
Joining us now, Young Voices fellow Maggie Anders. Maggie, did any of that come off as presidential?
Absolutely not. And I just have to say, clearly Munich was the Democrats' first campaign stop this year. And I have to say, AOC for me came in dead last. She completely flubbed this question about Taiwan and came off as completely unserious. It's clear to me that Democrats want the US and Europe to go back to a foreign policy of self-hatred.
So Secretary of State Marco Rubio also.
The United States and Taiwan strengthening their relationship with a new trade deal.
In Taiwan, if China were to move. And should the U.S.
over the weekend, this made headlines. Watch this.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that.
Oh no.
This is this is of course a very long-standing policy of the United States.
Oh man.
And I think what we are hoping
She
for
brain
is that we want
glitched,
to make sure we
bro.
never
She brain glitched, man. Oh, that's like the worst time, dude. That's like the worst time and place. Especially when you're trying to build yourself up as like, the possible next 2028 Democratic candidate to be, right? You can't be doing this whole I'd say this time and time again, we need conviction. People that walk inside of a building and that are gonna talk, that are gonna be ready to deliver the message. I mean, compared to Gavin Newsom, bro, like, and I'm not even a big Newsom fan, but he was able to articulate himself and come off stronger and more charismatic. And AOC, she seems a little bit timid. She seems a little scared, right? And maybe foreign policy just isn't her strong suit. Maybe she just wasn't well equipped with maybe the proper knowledge to answer that question. Maybe she was not the person to be answering that question, especially on such a heavy issue like Taiwan and China. 'Cause she's essentially being asked, what do you think the US should do? What would you do as the US? Blah, 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 blah. Right? And I mean, that's a hard question to get into, especially when you're not too brushed up on foreign policy, which most Americans aren't. And she was not ready to answer that question. I mean, dude, that would be one of the most embarrassing things, I think, for me if I was to go in front of like a world stage and just start stuttering on my words. Even Trump, bro, as annoying and as fucking ridiculous as his speeches can be, dude can go on for an hour without stuttering like he's scared because he's just so overly confident in himself. And sometimes that's what we need is somebody who's just extremely confident in their ability to be able to go in and voice their opinion. You can't have these brain glitches, man, in the morning whenever, like you just woke up or you're high and everything and you're like trying to, fuck. You got to be ready to punch the questions in the face, man. Because if you're not, you're going to end up like AOC and everybody else that you're going to end up like everybody else talking shit about her. You don't want to be the clown, right? You don't want to be the whole talk of the town where everybody's like, oh man, this isn't very presidential, blah, blah, blah. She's got some time, man. She's still got to work on her ability to be able to speak in front of the world audience, right? In front of world leaders because she slipped up. I mean, let's just watch it again. I mean, it's kind of
of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point. And we standing. This is, of course, a very long-standing.
This is not how y'all want to answer a question.
States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point. And we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
That was hardly a coherent response, man. I don't feel like I got anything from that, and I don't think anybody else thinks that we got much from that, which is why everybody's talking shit about those kinds of responses, man, because it just it felt like a bunch of word salad, right? A bunch of words that meant nothing, had no meaning behind it, had no weight. You just kind of said stuff and moved on, and really didn't give us an answer to what you
World
think.
Bank and IFC outside counsel in Beijing, Katie Zachariah. Katie, good morning. Her answer was look, it was it was painful to listen to that, but you know, you have to wonder, does she not understand that we already have a strategic partnership in place with Taiwan, and that you would know that if you were a congresswoman.
It was almost a 30-second delay watching her try to answer that, Cheryl, and it was disturbing because if she's going to likely be, or putting her hat in the race for president, not understanding the trade situation that we already have existing with Taiwan, or the fact that President Trump is negotiating and Secretary Lutnick are negotiating these historic deals on semiconductor investment from Taiwan into the U.S., reducing tariffs and engaging Taiwan as a strategic trading partner. Her answer is not really an answer. It's, I don't want to get involved in this conversation because I don't know enough about it. That's what
I more or less just said that without watching this, right? I said that she was not probably informed enough to be able to make a very coherent response to that question. You know, she's not well versed on foreign policy. She's a local senator. She's a senator. I mean, not even a senator. She's a House representative, right? So, I mean, I don't even know what she's doing here in Munich answering these questions. Not that I'm hating on AOC. I think that was kind of an embarrassing display on her part, you know. She should have been ready to attack these questions just a little bit better, you know. That way she wouldn't be so subject to all of this what's the word? Judgment, I guess. Let's see, memeology. Let's see. Yeah, was this the only thing that they have on her? Is this whole question on Taiwan?
Why, not just myself, but many of our colleagues here, in fact, Democrats, many Democrats that are here as well, is because we want to tell a larger story, that what is happening is indeed very grave. And we are in a new era, domestically and globally. There have been many leaders who've said we will go back, and I think we have to recognize that we are in a new day and in a new time. But that does not mean that the majority of Americans are ready to walk away from a rules-based order, and that we're ready to walk away from our commitment to democracy. I think what we identify is that in a rules-based order, hypocrisy is vulnerability. And so I think what we are seeking is a return to a rules-based order that eliminates the hypocrisies around when too often in the West we look the other way for inconvenient populations to act out these
She
paradoxes.
seems nervous.
What the hell are you talking about?
And to all of you, and Congressman, I'll start with you, would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
You know, I think that this is...
Man. Poor AOC, man. Sorry demonstration. You know, and it's not her fault, man. She kind of got thrown under the bus with that question. She didn't know how to answer it. But I don't know if that's... She's got to work on her ability to speak on foreign policy if we're going to expect her to go throw her bid in for a presidential run in 2028, man. I saw this video pull up a minute ago.
There is new bipartisan frustration in Congress after
What's
the
up,
Justice
baby?
Department sent a list of, quote, politically exposed persons in the millions of files related to its probes of Jeffrey Epstein.
So, baby.
That list includes many prominent figures who appear in the files without any context, like Janis Joplin and Pope John Paul II. No one name besides Epstein and his accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell has ever been charged in connection with Epstein's crimes. Several lawmakers argue the Justice Department is intentionally muddying the waters on who was a predator versus someone simply mentioned in an email or perhaps an article.
Billionaire Tom Pritzker is stepping down as executive chairman of Hyatt Hotels over his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, saying he regrets his association with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Meanwhile, the Justice Department...
Dude, how many elite individuals are gonna like end up stepping down from their high-level positions because of this? It just seems like the entire elite world, right? These motherfuckers who are a part of this quote-unquote 1%, this billionaire boys club, are all intertwined and know each other and have, like, you know, like dipped their hand in the cookie jar, right? I mean, is there anybody who has money that isn't guilty here? Is there anybody who isn't a fucking weirdo? Is there anybody who isn't, you know, a part of this entire Epstein scandal, bro? Because it just feels like every day it's somebody else, man. I mean, how many weird fuckers out there are there, dude? And why are they being protected?
A weekend letter to Congress listing hundreds of prominent people listed
What's
in
up,
the
baby
Epstein
boy?
files. But there's a but, and it's a big one.
He's beautiful,
Being
right?
mentioned doesn't necessarily mean anything. Elvis Presley is in there, and he died almost 50 years ago, which raises questions about why DOJ sent this 6-page letter that you saw with scores of prominent names. Yes, there are some presidents, business leaders, government officials who have been well documented in their ties to the convicted sex offender. But there are many others who are simply talked about in the Epstein emails and texts. You are on the Oversight Committee. That's one of the jobs and the committees that you sit on in Washington. One of your colleagues, Democrat Ro Khanna, said that this is DOJ's attempt to muddy the waters. Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace pointed out that the list is, quote, missing names. What's your reaction?
Yeah, it's selective release. We've seen this consistently. There is an agenda that this DOJ has, and that is why the American people simply do not trust the leadership in Washington right now under this administration, because it feels as if it's more about protecting pedophiles than it is in actually seeking truth and justice, which is the job of the Department of Justice. So sadly enough, just like when we saw the initial release of the Epstein files, we saw that there were victims' names that were released as well, and it was clear that that was intentional.
Right.
Sadly enough, I feel like that was an attempt to intimidate these amazing survivors.
Right. I mean, dude, that was probably my biggest frustration with the release, was the fact that they didn't redact the names of the survivors. They clearly exposed them, names and women that have been protected for years, but they protected names of men who are considered quote-unquote elites, right, to protect capital interest around the world. And that's complete bullshit, bro. The DOJ should not be protecting the elites around the world. They should be protecting the people of America. Remember, the DOJ, the Attorney General, the people she's supposed to be representing were the survivors, and she couldn't even turn around and look at the survivors.
And frankly, we
Fucking
saw
wild,
when
bro.
Pam Bondi appeared before judiciary.
Shout out
committee that I
Jasmine
serve
Crockett.
on, that they absolutely were the courageous ones, and our pathetic Attorney General, sadly enough, is not doing the job that she
Big shout
swore an
out.
oath to do.
There's so much that was redacted from these files. I know you are one of the lawmakers who went in and looked at some of the unredacted documents. What were your takeaways?
When we first formed a learning solutions team, there were
What were your takeaways? Damn. Let's see.
That's actually not the case. I went in to see unredacted files, and of the files that my staff had listed that they wanted me to go ahead and try to review, all of those files were still redacted. And so I was asking the staff that was there, why is it that I am here? And basically it was just a waste of my time. This is another thing that concerns everyone, whether you're talking about a Ro Khanna or a Thomas Massey. There's a lack of transparency and seemingly an attempt
So much to go
cover up.
over, man.
It
It's
is
like
really
always
sad that
something
the United
new.
States
It's always
has historically led this
crazy shit
world.
popping
And
off.
Right now, we're seeing the United States fall for so many reasons. We see
I just
leaders
wanna make-
all around the world that are resigning. Go ahead.
That's what I said, dude. We have so many leaders around the world, leaders, CEOs, all of these high level elites just fucking dropping like flies right now, bro. And it's just like how many people were involved? I mean, dude, how deep does this go? And I mean, they don't redact that many names and they don't keep 3 million extra pages to themselves if there wasn't a lot of people to protect. I mean, this shit goes deeper than any of us even know. And that's the reason why the administration is so pent up on getting us to stop talking about it. They want us to stop talking about it. Even Trump the other day said that he feels like the Department of Justice has other things that they should be doing and focusing on, not the Epstein files, because it's old news. But I mean, shit, this is far from old news, bro. Just because it happened a couple of years ago, don't make it old news. This shit is developing right now in front of us, and the American people are pissed off. Whether you're right or you're left, we don't like fucking people that are child molesters. We don't like child sex traffickers in this bitch. All right, we want them held accountable. We don't want those motherfuckers here, especially in high power positions, especially within our executive branch. That's not what we want. We don't want corrupted individuals running the country. We want them held accountable and brought to justice. At least I do. Fuck, man. I'm tired of this shit. I can't. Okay, if you're a conservative and you're a MAGA lover, right, or you're a Trump lover, can you really sit there and say that like you hated Biden because his son did cocaine and there's all this scandal and corruption, but you're willing to accept the scandal and corruption that is Donald Trump? Doesn't make sense, bro. Doesn't
I
make
just
sense.
want to make sure I understand
I'll be right back.
what happened.
I'll use the restroom.
So you went in, as did many of your colleagues, to see unredacted files. But was it the specific files that you wanted to see that they would not unredact? And
Correct.
Why do you think that is?
The
Do you know the context around those?
I don't know exactly what all I was supposed to see if it had been redacted. My staff gave me a list of specific files that they were like, we think you should try to go and look at these. They have 4 computers set up for all 435 members of the House. I sat down at one of those computers. They showed us how to go through the process of actually seeing the unredacted version. I then had to have the person that taught us how to do that to say, wait a minute, am I doing something wrong? Because as I continue to search specific documents, they are coming up and they are redacted. And so the explanation that I was given is that that must have been how they were sent over. And there are a lot of documents that they've been getting the same issue. They've been trying to resolve, I will say, because a lot of members have had that problem. So they were taking note of everything that I was trying to unredact and denoting that they were not available in an unredacted form.
Joining us now is Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell of California. He serves on the House Judiciary Committee. Hi, Congressman. So what was your immediate reaction when you read this list of names, which includes people like Marilyn Monroe, who died when Epstein was just 9 years old?
Get real is my reaction. It's nonsense. These monsters were forwarding news articles about me. And if you check these billionaires' emails today, I bet they're still talking about me because they're worried. They're worried about many that they've listed in that email, and they should be, because I and many others that they're trying to muddy us up with are not going to rest until every single one of them has been brought to justice. So this is just a distraction. The American people want to see justice on these files. The Congress has asked for this. It's not going away, Pamela. And as I said, I'm not going away.
Notably,
the victims aren't going away, more important.
Well, certainly, and we will continue to talk to them. Notably missing from that letter, I noticed, were names like longevity Dr. Peter Attia and Steve Tisch, co-owner of the Giants, both of whom communicated with Epstein in the emails in the most recent dump of files. They haven't been accused of any wrongdoing. But what do you make of that? This big list of names, including Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley, and then those names not actually being on the list?
And also, by the way, the name that is listed the most in these files and talked about the most is Donald Trump. And of all the people that Jeffrey Epstein talked to in the world, and it looks like this guy got around, and there are millions of files, and Donald Trump's name is mentioned many, many times, up to 1 million. Some are speculating through the searches. There's only one person that Jeffrey Epstein described as his best friend, and that's Donald Trump. But the effort since this summer, and I want to just walk you through the timeline, has been to avoid this at all costs on the Republican side. They refused to swear in Adelita Grajova when she would have been the person that got the Epstein discharge over the goal line. During the summer, they were willing to shut down the government because they didn't want these files to be released. And again, the Department.
Right. You know, they always blame the Democrats. They say the Democrats weaponize government shutdowns and, you know, Cuck Schwarmer and everything, you know, weaponizes it against good American people when it suits their interests and everything. But I mean, the Republican Party and the whole MAGA administration was willing to shut down the government and everything as well because they didn't want the Epstein files to get out. They were very, very against these files getting out. And now that they're out, they are annoyed with the trouble that they're having to go through with redacting it and going through all of these hearings and just the constant news coverage that's around it. They can't stand that shit. They're tired of it, right? So
Justice won't
it's
release
convenient for
all
them,
of the files
right?
now,
They can do it
and
when
many
they
of
want to
them,
do it.
are redacted, and only about 50% have come forward. It's a cover-up job at the Department of Justice, but we're not going away.
And certainly Trump's name has been in there quite a lot, and he has not been accused of any wrongdoing. But certainly it raises questions the way that this release has happened, as you noted, from the survivors themselves who have been on this show and have asked why it's being handled this way and why some names are redacted, others aren't.
Some names are redacted and some aren't because they're protecting global capital as we speak, friends. At any cost.
I'd be dating her. You know. If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know.
Terry Tucker. What? U.S. Department of Homeland Security requests Google, Reddit, Instagram, and Facebook to provide names, phone numbers, and other identifying information of users who criticize ICE? That's absolutely fucking crazy. First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Come on, motherfuckers. Y'all are out there. Weren't these fools just hanging out? Some profile. I need some followers, bro.
Facing even more defections from his own party on key issues over the Epstein files.
Responsibility. And just very quickly, if you will, you've supported most of what Donald Trump has done during his presidency, but because of your actions with these files, he is supporting your primary opponent and has waged very personal attacks on you. I know we just have a few seconds here, but just your reaction to that.
Look, this is about the Epstein class. The people who are funding the attacks against me, they may or may not be implicated in these files, but they were certainly rubbing shoulders with the people who are in these files. They're billionaires who are friends with these people, and that's what I'm up against in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump told us that even though, you know, he had dinner with these kinds of people in New York City and West Palm Beach, that he would be transparent.
Sorry, guys, I was fixing my lighting.
Still in with the Epstein class. This is the Epstein administration, and they're attacking me for trying to get these files released.
And
the Epstein administration, very well said. It's really worth pointing out that politicians have been captured by dark money interest groups for years and years, but this is one of the most insidious manifestations of it. These dark money interest groups before were like, hey, don't you talk bad about coal, don't you talk bad about this, but now The dark money interest groups are trying to pay politicians off to hide the files that implicate the richest of the rich, the most powerful men, people who...
Yeah, man, like I said, I mean, it's the same old every single time. I mean, we all know why they're protecting and redacting, right? Because it's elite officials who represent these huge corporations or own these huge corporations and represent so much capital um, that they have to be protected, or quote unquote have to, right? This administration will look out for them because it's literally going to be the downfall of essentially, you know, a majority of the 1%, or at least a high earning elite officials that are a part of this entire shabacle. I can't even find the word I'm trying to find right now. Tel Aviv Ted.
The population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people living around?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah.
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's,
because,
it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not
okay.
even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay,
actually,
I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know
claims
anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
Who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe
we're
that...
carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting
Israel.
Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is...
Buddy loves Israel. We already know that. Ted Cruz is like literally
Ask you a quick question.
here to represent Israel.
Myron Baines, this is my biggest dream to come see you. So I wanted to ask you a quick question real quick. What are you doing, bro? What are you doing? My notes. I'm pulling up my notes.
Nah, man, nah. You gotta chill out.
Okay, my bad,
out, bro.
So
what's wrong with you?
Okay,
bro?
no, I was about to ask you a question, fam. Myron Baines, this is my
dude got scared. Myron
wondering
sucks.
what you think of Section 8 housing.
What I think about Section 8 housing?
Because I think Section 8 housing is terrorism on white people. The government basically takes the ghetto and moves it to white neighborhoods. If you pay your own rent, the government, and live in a nice neighborhood, the government can at any point say, hey, we're going to add a bunch of black people who don't pay their own rent and commit crime disproportionately. We're going to take them out of the ghetto and we're going to move them down the street from you. And you're going to pay extra taxes so that they can live there rent-free. I think that's wrong. I don't see how that's fair for anybody involved.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. I mean, I have some real estate property, and I'll tell you, man, niggas are the worst tenants ever. So they don't pay, and they fucking get all mad, and look, they're going crazy already. Yeah, it's nuts. It's like, there's a line if you want to go ahead and join in the discussion. But
I started a political action committee to fight Section 8 housing.
Alrighty.
Hard not to get them released for so many months. What do you think the real reason is?
These files implicate billionaires and friends of his and political donors that he's trying to protect. And Epstein also had close ties to our own intelligence agencies and Israel's intelligence agencies. That's why there's so much effort in trying to stop this. And I do believe they'll try to stop it somewhere else. And that's going to backfire on them too.
We understand how sad it is for us in Canada and in the United States to watch what you're doing to yourself. I mean, the UK is a great country When I go there, I go to Oxford, I go to Cambridge, to these remarkable places in London, see your unbelievable deep history, understand
Oh my
how
God.
much the world owes the UK in terms of, say, the establishment of common law and decent government everywhere, including places like India. We owe the UK such an immense debt. And to watch you guys like spiral yourselves into the ground for this idiot, weak political correctness that's gone so far that you can allow your working class women to be raped en masse sadistically and say nothing about it and gaslight people who are telling the truth. It's so sickening. It's so demoralizing. It's almost unspeakable. We all pray, hope and pray here in Canada and the US.
All clearly see. You can see it, right? Our nation is afflicted and in crisis.
Our way out of this.
These
By
fools
long
really hanging out. What losers.
I told you, when I'm finished, you can have what's left.
There won't be any left. There's never any left.
Okay. Fucking fools, man. In a day flipping off Trump Tower in NYC, despite the fact that President Trump is 1,000 miles away in Florida. Yeah, it's kind of stupid, guys. Kind of stupid. And I don't really have time to cover much more, do I, today? Damn, dude, it's already 6:17. Ugh, my back hurts. Yeah, I wanted to cover more, man, but I don't really have a lot of time today. I mean, I could try to go for a little bit more, but I gotta go get my wife here in a minute. I gotta start finding a better time to get online.
Wants a
Let's
solution
see.
that ends the bloodshed once and for all. On Friday, President Trump said Russia wants to make a deal and Zelensky's gonna have to get moving. Earlier this month, Zelensky said the U.S. set a June deadline to strike a peace agreement. Zelensky was asked at this conference if he was feeling the pressure from the Trump administration. He replied, quote, a little bit. Trilateral talks will continue this Tuesday in Geneva, but major obstacles remain, including territory in eastern Ukraine. Zelensky claims the U.S. told them an end can come as quickly as possible if Kyiv withdraws from the Donbass. He said Washington is too often asking for Ukraine, not Russia, to make concessions.
Ukraine is ready for a deal that brings real peace to us, to Ukraine, to Europe. And I'm confident that this war can be ended and ended with dignity.
During his speech, Secretary Rubio offered a reassuring message to European allies, saying America will always be a child of Europe and that the U.S. wants to revitalize an old friendship, saying, quote, the fate of Europe will never be irrelevant to our own. He even struck a firm tone, though, about the administration's intent to reshape this alliance and push its priorities, from tackling mass migration to strengthening our economies and military power.
We believe that Europe must survive, because the two great wars of the last century serve for us as history's constant reminder that ultimately our destiny is and will always be intertwined with yours.
And many European countries have stepped up their defense spending. Prime Minister Keir Starmer addressed this at his meeting yesterday in Munich, saying that Europe must stand on its own two feet.
Essentially saying that, hey, we want you guys to come into the fold. We still love you guys, but we're Big Daddy now. And just know that whatever happens to you guys, you know, it affects us, or whatever affects us is going to affect you guys. So y'all either can get a part of this new dynamic that we're creating, or yeah, you know what's going to happen, you know, kind of situation. That's what I'm hearing here, you know. But, yeah, man, I don't really have a lot more time, dude. I gotta go run some errands. I gotta go get my wife. Yeah, I'm gonna probably wrap it up, dude. I gotta go do some stuff. But hey, man, I appreciate everybody hanging out with me, man. I'm gonna probably start trying to do these a little bit longer. I'm sorry that today was so short, but it was cool being able to go over a couple of things with you guys. I enjoyed chatting. Uh, remember, guys, to always stay informed. Keep your head out the sand, bro. Don't stay complacent, and always beg the question, man. All right, man. Peace out, guys. I'll catch you guys later.